What's the first thing you grab when you don't know what's for dinner? For me, it's usually ground beef, so I'm always looking for new ground beef recipes that I haven't made before. Well, these do not disappoint. I found 3 brand new to me ground beef dinner recipes, and they were so easy and so stinking delicious, we just couldn't believe it. Everybody's going to be in the Clean Plate Club this week. I've started browning up 1 pound of ground beef, and I am so excited for tonight's dinner. We'll definitely not be using this entire big deal 2-pound bag of cheese, but I kind of wanted to show you what all was in here. And this is cabbage, crescents, and onions. Ground beef, so easy. This is a Midwestern classic called Runza. This original recipe could feed an army. You make it in a 9x13 pan. I'm only going to make half of this, so I'm using 1 tube of crescent rolls. I'm going to take half of it, and I've sprayed very lightly about an 8x8 casserole pan, and I am just going to spread my crescents along the bottom, kind of pinching the seams together a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and pre-bake this at 350 about 5 minutes just for this bottom crust. I don't know if I'm going to use this entire onion. We'll see. Probably just use half of it. But another reason that I'm only making half is because I'm not sure that my family will like this. Patrick, I don't really think he's a big cooked cabbage guy. And honestly, I don't like to just eat a pan of cooked cabbage. But I think I'll like it with the onions and ground beef and all this stuff in here, because I do tend to like it when it's cooked into things. Except that old Weight Watchers soup. Mama used to make a big old pot of that Weight Watchers cabbage soup. You could eat as much as you wanted for no points, but I just hated the smell of that stuff. I couldn't hardly stand the looks of it. I've got my ground beef all cooked through, and I just melted me a little tablespoonful of butter here in the middle, and I'm going to slide my onion in here, and I used almost 3/4 of that onion. Spin that around just a little bit and let it get softened up. Of course, if your ground beef needs it, go ahead and drain the grease off of it. When your onions begin to get translucent, we're going to add in 2 cups of shredded cabbage. You may see a little bit of purple cabbage and a little bit of carrots in mine. I just bought a bagged slaw mix, and this was all they had. They didn't have just the cabbage by itself, but this will be fine. I tried to pick out as much of the purple as I could just for the looks of this recipe. And we're just going to start mixing that cabbage in and cooking it down. Now I'm going to give it a real good seasoning. I haven't seasoned anything yet. I just waited till I got it all kind of in here. A lot of black pepper, and I'm going to sprinkle in some of my Auntie Nonos, and that is salt, but it also has onion powder and garlic powder in it. Stir all of these seasonings in and let this simmer until that cabbage gets nice and soft. Now we're going to take this beef and cabbage mixture and pour it right on top of these crescent rolls that we've baked up a little bit. Spread it out across there. Oh, this smells good already. Super hearty. And now we're going to sprinkle about a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese over the top of this. You could definitely use cheddar cheese or whatever you like, but this is what the original recipe called for, and I want the original experience. Now I'm going to take the second part of my crescent rolls here and spread it out over the top. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you had the sheets, the crescent dough sheets, this is a perfect place to use something like that. When I was researching how to pronounce this dish, Runza, because I didn't want to mess it up, this said that this recipe was created based on the Runza sandwich out of Nebraska. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Any of you guys up in Nebraska or the Midwest who watch, let me know if you've made this casserole, if you've had that sandwich, any kind of variations that you think I could do, or, you know, how's this compare? I'm going to put this back in a 350 degree oven and bake it about 20 minutes, and we'll take a look at it. I took the advice of the recipe and served mine along a big fresh salad with some tangy dressing, and I can totally see why they suggest that, because this sandwich gives off Reuben vibes to me. That's another reason I thought Patrick would like it. Of course, it's not got the Thousand Island dressing, but the tangy salad with dressing on the side is delicious. And Patrick loves a Reuben sandwich. Guys, I think 21 minutes was perfect. I looked in there at 20 and thought it could get just a little bit more brown. I didn't put any butter or egg wash or anything on the top of that. You do need to let it sit here for, 5 or 10 minutes and kind of come together before you try to slice out of this. This one absolutely blew us away. So simple and so delicious. The only change I would make is I would definitely put some Worcestershire sauce in this. As soon as I stuck it in the oven, I thought about that. Maybe even a little Italian dressing would be good in there. The recipe linked below will have the full ingredients list, and I'll put their original baking instructions, which is much different than what I ended up using. So I'll put both of them on there. I would just keep an eye on it and use your best judgment cooking it. This is a perfect example of why I always say, don't be intimidated or afraid to make something because the size of the recipe. This was easily cut in half, perfect for us and some leftovers, or I could share it with our parents too. Ground beef is something that I keep on hand in my freezer all the time because it's so versatile. It's like a blank canvas, really. You can take it in any flavor direction that you're craving. And any artist will tell you that a good painting starts with a high quality canvas. And that is where Good Chop comes in. They offer fully customizable boxes of high quality meat and seafood delivered to your door on your own schedule. Good Chop takes great pride in sourcing meat that comes with no artificial ingredients, no antibiotics or added hormones ever. That's why they can confidently offer a 100% money back guarantee that you will love Good Chop or get your money back. We've eaten so many of the delicious products from Good Chop. We've had wild caught salmon, free range and organic chicken breasts, 100% grass-fed ribeyes, USDA prime filet mignon, thick cut bacon, and of course, ground beef. With over 60 high-quality cuts to choose from, we've got lots more to try. And Good Chop sources its meat and seafood exclusively from American farms and fisheries. Your purchase from Good Chop helps support local family farms and independent ranchers right here in the U.S. Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use code MommaMail120, or you can click the link in the caption below to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes. That's an incredible savings of $120 off across your first 4 boxes at goodchop.com/YouTube and use code MommaMail120. And a special thank you to Good Chop for sponsoring today's video. Today I'm still on this tortellini kick. I don't know if they're multiplying in my pantry, but it seems like I've had more tortellini than I've had since lately. But today we're making a cheesy beef enchilada tortellini skillet. Say that tongue twister a few times. Got a pound of ground beef started in the skillet, so let's see how to put this baby together. I'm going to boil this tortellini in some boiling water for about 13 to 14 minutes. I'm using this 4 cheese tortellini. This is actually shelf stable. This is from Target, and I've used out of it at least once before, so I'm probably using about 6 or 7 ounces here. The recipe does not call for this, but I am going to throw in a little bit of onion because I just think if you're cooking ground beef, you need onion and a little bit of garlic too. Not going to salt and pepper it because we are going to put some taco seasoning in here. Into my meat and onion mixture, I'm going to put a tablespoon of just a packaged taco seasoning. Feel free to make your own. That way you can control whatever's in it. But I'm just going to use what I have on hand. I'm also going to put in about a cup of water. You could use beef broth. You could really even use chicken broth if you wanted to, just to add a little bit more flavor in here. We're not going for an overpowering taco flavor here either. You just want a little bit of those Tex-Mex seasonings. I'm also going to put in about a 10-ounce can of enchilada sauce. If you had salsa instead of enchilada sauce, you could use that as well, but I do like the flavor of enchilada sauce, and I haven't used it in anything in a long time, so I'm kind of excited about that. I'm also putting in 1 can of black beans that have been rinsed and drained. This is the first time that I have used this brand of low sodium black beans, and they are from Publix, and I really like the looks of them. They're not black. They just look really good. I'm excited to try those. And I'm gonna throw in just about half of this can of fire roasted tomatoes, and I did drain these. Real careful like, I'm gonna chunk these tomatoes up just a little bit more, because if you've been here a while, you know that Patrick Effler's really not a tomato guy. But I have been wanting to use these fire roasted tomatoes for a while now, and I say all the time, I am learning more than I'm sharing wisdom. I mentioned that a long time ago in a video. I said I didn't use fire roasted tomatoes because I didn't like a lot of spice. You guys told me they're not hot. It's just the way they're cooked. They have tons of flavor. I didn't realize that fire roasted tomatoes were not hot. So I've been really anxious to throw them into anything that I can. Just getting all this mixed together, and I'm gonna let this simmer here for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Now that my sauce has simmered and thickened up a little bit, I'm gonna take this tortellini and just put it right over into this saucepan, and I'm just gonna stir it in and get it all incorporated. While this is simmering just a little bit more, I'm gonna top it with a little bit of cheese. You can use Monterey Jack. I think that would be delicious. Cheddar, whatever you have. I'm using a blend of some Colby and Monterey Jack cheese. Since I have a lid for this skillet, I'm just going to put the lid on the top to melt the cheese, but you could definitely stick this under the broiler in the oven if you have an oven safe skillet, just to get it nice and melted and a little brown on top. Friends, don't let the easy preparation of this dish fool you. It was full of flavor. This was so good. Of course, if you wanted to substitute that tortellini for ravioli that you have on hand, that's going to work just fine. I topped mine with a little sour cream and green onions. This was so hearty and so filling and absolutely delicious. I've tried lots of things to make onions not burn my eyes, and actually this is a really good tearless onion. If you can ever find those in your store, whoops, y'all didn't see that. They're really good. But if you have an onion that is really strong, just rinse it under some water and dry it with a paper towel, and I swear that thing will not burn your eyes. Today we're making a crescent lasagna. I've already got a pound of ground beef frying up over there on the stove, and you can see all of the yummy things that is going into it. It's super easy and quick, and I'm just using up a bunch of cheeses out of my refrigerator too. This also takes 2 rolls of crescents. I don't have those out yet. Got this smelling good in here. Now I am going to take a big old spoonful of garlic, throw that in there. Oh, that smells good. If you could just bottle this, well, I guess you can bottle it. I got a bottle of garlic, but it smells so good with the onions and the ground beef. And of course, you could use sausage here. As a matter of fact, this original recipe called for Italian sausage or ground sausage, but we just prefer it with ground beef. Something else that was not in the original recipe is spinach. But I'm going to wilt some down in here. It never hurt anybody to get a little extra spinach. I'm throwing some more garlic in too, just a little bit. If your family likes mushrooms, you could definitely throw mushrooms in here. I mean, it's yours. Put whatever you want in it. Now let's go ahead and take this 8-ounce can of just regular tomato sauce. That is all that's going in here. Not a big jar of like spaghetti sauce like we usually use with a lasagna. And I'm going to put in a good sized tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Now let's get all this mixed together. You know, when I make a regular lasagna, it makes a whole lot. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love having leftover lasagna. But to me, this is like much more doable size of lasagna. It's not going to taste exactly like lasagna either because, you know, noodles and crescents are different. But to me, this is something that's like more doable for like a family of 4 or even a family of 2. And while this is sitting over here simmering up for about 10 minutes, we are going to mix up our cheese layer. This is super easy. It calls for a 1.5 cups of cottage cheese, but that is about what I had left out of this container of ricotta. I just had a little bit out of this, so I'm going to finish this up today. I'm going to put in about 2 teaspoons, and I'm eyeballing. I'm using dried parsley. Of course, if you had fresh, that's best. And always that 1 egg. We're going to mix this all up and just set it aside. I actually prefer cottage cheese in my lasagna. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I do. I've got a 9x13 casserole dish here. I did spray it. As you can see, I don't have crescent dough sheets, which is fine. The triangles work just as well. We're going to pinch them together. And that is my first can of buttery, flaky crescents.
Flaky. I like flaky all again.
I'm going to trust the recipe, and I'm not going to pre-bake the bottom of this crescent roll. I'm just going to go with it this time. But now we're putting a layer of mozzarella cheese. The recipe that I read for this used slices of cheese, and it said to use 6 slices on this layer. So that is probably a cup, somewhere in that range. Now we're going to take half of our meat mixture, and we're just going to spread this out as evenly as we can. Now it says to sprinkle about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese on this layer. I'm sure it's talking about the grated kind, but I had just a little handful left in this bag, so I'm getting this used up. Now the recipe says to put all the cottage or ricotta cheese layer right here, and I'm worried because mine is a little bit runny, but I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. Now we're going to take that last little bit of our meat sauce and put it right over the ricotta or the cottage cheese, whatever you're using, right over that layer. Now we're going to use the other about maybe 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. And if you have slices, it says to put 6 slices of it here. It's going to be cheesy, that's for sure. Now we're going to take our second roll of crescents, and we're just going to do them like we did the first roll. Unroll them, pinch everything together. Now I'm just going to drizzle a little olive oil on here. Take my brush and spread it out all across the top of the crescents. Now I'm going to take that shaker of Parmesan cheese and sprinkle a little across the top. And you know I got to have a little bit of green on top. I'm putting some Italian seasoning on here. I'm going to bake this in a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Oh goodness, this looks and smells so good. I love it when you can see the cheese getting sizzly. I wished I could tear into this right now, but it's going to have to sit here a few minutes, which is perfect because I'm actually taking this over to Callie and Ryan's house to have a little family dinner over there tonight. As I mentioned earlier, this did not disappoint. The crescent lasagna got 5 thumbs up. It was, for some reason, a lot easier to me than making regular lasagna. Even if you use the ready-to-cook noodles, it was great. Callie and Ryan had us all a great salad fixed up, and this wonderful fondue. This is a dupe of the Melting Pot's loaded potato. I will leave you a recipe for this fondue down in the description box. Oh, it was good. And for dessert, Ryan whipped up a delicious chocolate flambe fondue. It was so good and it was so much fun. Had lots of different little cookies and cakes, Rice Krispie treats, and fruits to dip in this one as well. Be sure and watch this video right here next to round out your meal plan. Thanks so much for watching and spending some of your time with me. I appreciate you, and until next week, I send you love from my kitchen.